Hello, Nee.
Hello, now I can
Yes.
hear you.
Good. All right. Okay. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm good. Have you eaten your dinner?
No, I haven't.
You haven't. Oh, why? Dinner is not yet prepared?
Because I'm not. No, because I'm not hungry.
Oh, you're not yet hungry. I see. Okay. Let me just share my book.
Because in the evening I eat a lot of cake.
Ah. Okay. But what did you do today? Did you do something productive today? Like, did you read books? Did you study? Aside from studying online, what else do you do?
Aside from studying, I'm eating cake and help my mom to prepare the dinner.
I see. Okay. Did you do online games?
Yes, and watch TV.
And watch TV. I see. What time do you normally sleep at night?
Over from 9 or 10 o'clock.
And then you wake up at what time?
I wake up at 5 a.m.
Okay, even though you don't have school.
When I don't have school, I get up at only 7 or 8 a.m.
I see. Okay. So it's still not so early. Okay, I see. All right. So tonight we're going to continue what we started yesterday, okay? On this book, we are now already on vocabulary. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So today's vocabulary, we're going to learn about adjectives. So we know in adjectives we can add ed or ing. So look at the pictures. So there were four persons in the picture, right? With four different facial expressions. Okay? So I want you to look at them, each of them, the four of them, and then tell me which person is bored.
Mm, I think the person board is the person A and B.
A and B, yeah. Actually, the three of them, A, B, C, they look so bored, right? But I think, yeah, but B, I think, is the most bored among the three, right?
Yes.
Okay, and which person is boring? Which do you think is boring?
I think the person is boring is the person in picture D.
Okay, if he is boring, why he keeps on dancing? So I think the person that is boring is, who do you think? Is it A, B, or C?
I think B.
It's B. Okay, yes, all right. And which person is embarrassing? There.
The person is embarrassing is the person I think D.
The person that is embarrassing is person D. Okay, very good. That's,
D.
yeah, that's correct. Okay, good job. All right. So, tonight we are going to look back on different types of adjectives, okay? So, let's look at B. Without looking back at the text in one on the other page, we're going to underline the correct adjectives in these sentences, okay? So, the
Okay.
adjectives are highlighted. You just have to choose which one of them fits on the sentence, okay? All
Okay.
right, let's start with number one. Could you please read the sentence and tell me your answer?
Number one, I failed my first test. I was really disappointed.
Yeah, very good. Disappointed. Good job. Number two.
It's so embarrassing to admit I can't do something that all my friends are able to do it.
Okay, can we say it again? Embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Very good. That's correct. All right, number three.
I hate not being able to communicate. It's so frustrating. frustrating.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. Good job. All right. So now let's look at letter D. Okay. So look back at the text on page 44 and gonna check the answers. Actually, we got all the answers correct, so no need to look back. Let's complete the adjectives with ed or ing. Okay, based on the sentences or what is expected in the sentence. Okay. Let's try
Okay.
number one.
Number one, what do you think is the most exciting sport to watch?
Yes, exciting. Very good. Number two.
What music
Okay. What is your answer again?
depressed?
Okay, depressed.
Okay.
All right. Number three.
Three, what was the last interesting TV program you watched?
All right. Very good.
Have you ever been disappointed by a birthday present?
All right. Disappointed.
Okay. Which do you find more tired, traveling by car or by public transport?
All right. What is our answer? How do we say it?
Tired,
Tiring. Tiring.
tiring.
Yeah. hmm So when you say tiring, you feel exhausted, tired, So, yeah. Which do you find more tiring? Traveling by car or by public transport? Okay?
Okay.
Next.
Are you often bored at school, at work or school?
Okay. Number seven.
What's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you?
Good job. Very good.
Are you frightened of any insects?
Okay. Good job.
Do you feel very tired in the morning?
Yes. Very good.
What's the most boring film you've seen recently?
Recently.
Recently.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, you were able to pick ed or ing or put ed or ing correctly in all our sentences. So, could you please pick two questions and give me your answer? Pick two questions. Choose.
Mm, the um the last interesting TV program I watched is a TV program about animal in about animal because I am always like watching animals and it is have a lot of wonderful things.
Uh-huh. Okay, very good. All right. So this is about animals. Okay. Next, pick another question and give me your answer.
Mm, I think traveling by public transport are more tiring than car because in Vietnam, the public transport bus are very dirty.
Oh, I see. So you are not suggesting that people or tourists in your country would take public transportation.
The people who travel in my country always go by taxi, always go by taxi
Oh, I
when they
see.
come to Vietnam.
I see. Okay, all right. So that's a good suggestion. I would remember that if I go to Vietnam. Okay. All right. So now, me. Let's go ahead and continue. We will do some listening tonight, okay? So tonight, you're going to
Okay,
hear a psychologist talking about how to succeed at learning to do something new. So before you listen, we're gonna match these phrasal verbs with their meanings first. Okay? So take up. I want to take up scuba diving. What does it mean? Is it a stop, abandon, continue, or start something new?
I think start something new.
All right, that's a good one. That's correct. I'm going to give up learning Japanese. It's too difficult. Give up means.
Mm, it means stop, abandon,
All
and
right.
carry on. It means continue.
Yes, good job. Okay, so now I will be sending you the link of audio 3.14, and as you play it, we're gonna listen together, okay? All
Okay.
right, I'm gonna send the link now. Copy. Okay. Right, since I cannot put the link on here, so I'm just going to send it to you. Okay, could you please tell me if you were able to play it? If not, please let me know so I can check my link.
Okay. I can't play it.
You can?
No, I can't.
You can't? Okay, let me just open it and
Yes.
then I'm gonna send it again to you.
3.13.
There.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of All
Yes, now
About
I
You.
can.
Today's program's about taking up new activities. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of All About You. It's about taking up new activities and how to succeed at them. With us is psychologist Dr. Maggie Pryor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Pryor, what tips can you give our listeners who are thinking of learning to do something new?
Well, first of all, I would say choose wisely. On the one hand, don't choose something completely unrealistic. For example, don't decide to take up sailing if you can't swim, or parachute jumping if you're afraid of heights. But on the other hand, don't generalize and think that just because you aren't very good at one sport, you won't be able to do any sports at all. I mean, just because you were bad at gymnastics at school doesn't mean that you might not love playing tennis.
So think positive.
Definitely. And never think you'll be bad at something before you've even tried it.
Okay, so let's imagine I've started to learn to play tennis and I'm finding it very hard.
Well, first, don't give up too quickly. Carry on for at least a few months. It often takes time to begin to enjoy learning something new. Another thing that can help if you're having problems learning something is to give it a break and then try again, perhaps a month or two later.
But what if I carry on and I find I really don't have a talent for tennis?
I think the important thing is not to be too ambitious. I mean, if you've never done much sport and you decide to learn to play tennis, don't expect to become the next Wimbledon champion. Just aim to enjoy what you're doing, not to be the best in the world at it.
But if even after all this, I still feel I'm not getting anywhere?
Well, sometimes you do have to accept it and say, okay, this really isn't my thing, and you need to give it up. But why not try something else? There are lots of other things you can learn to do. But remember that if you take up an activity that you're really interested in, even if you aren't very good at it, you'll make new friends because you'll be meeting other people who have similar interests to you.
So it might be good for my love life.
Exactly.
Dr. Maggie Pryor, thank you very much.
I
All right.
want to listen again.
Okay, I'll wait.
3.13. Hello and
You're listening?
welcome to this week's edition of All About You. Today's program's about new activities and how.
Hello.
Yeah, listen. I'm listening too. Continue.
How to succeed at them. With us is psychologist Dr. Maggie Pryor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Pryor, what tips can you give our listeners who are thinking of learning to do something new?
Well, first of all, I would say choose wisely. On the one hand, don't choose something completely unrealistic. For example, don't decide to take up sailing if you can't swim, or parachute jumping if you're afraid of heights. But on the other hand, don't generalize and think that just because you aren't very good at one sport, you won't be able to do any sports at all. I mean, just because you were bad at gymnastics at school doesn't mean that you might not love playing tennis.
So think positive.
Definitely. And never think you'll be bad at something before you've even tried it.
Okay, so let's imagine I've started to learn to play tennis and I'm finding it very hard work.
Well, first, don't give up too quickly. Carry on for at least a few months. It often takes time to begin to enjoy learning something new. Another thing that can help if you're having problems learning something is to give it a break and then try again, perhaps a month or two later.
But what if I carry on and I find I really, really don't have a talent for tennis?
I think the important thing is not to be too ambitious. I mean, if you've never done much sport and you decide to learn to play tennis, don't expect to become the next Wimbledon champion. Just aim to enjoy what you're doing, not to be the best in the world at it.
But if even after all this, I still feel I'm not getting anywhere?
Well, sometimes you do have to accept it and say, okay, this really isn't my thing, and you need to give it up. But why not? But remember that if you take up an activity that you're really interested in, even if you aren't very good at it, you'll make new friends, because you'll be meeting other people who have similar interests to you.
So it might be good for my love life.
Exactly.
Dr. Maggie Pryor, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm finished.
All right, very good, Nee. Okay, let's continue now. So now we are going to tick or choose 5 things the psychology says. All right, so which
Mm,
one is your first choice?
the first is be realistic about what you choose.
Very good, that's correct. And then next one.
Don't think you'll be bad at all sport just because you are not good at one.
Yes, good job. And then another one.
Don't give up an activity before you've given it a good chance.
Okay, good job.
Mm,
2 more.
if you are learning something new, don't think you are going to become the best thing in the world at it.
Yes, and the last one.
It is learning something new is a good way of meeting people.
Okay, good job. All right, as we listened to it a while ago, why don't we go ahead and pick some of the examples that the psychologist gave when she was explaining these 5 things that you need to learn. What are some examples that you were able to listen? For example,
Um,
choosing wisely. What did she say?
I hear she take she take don't hurry which what you choose.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and
Um,
mhm.
and when you do some work, you didn't think you will have a champion or a prize about it.
Yes, exactly. All right. So, choosing wisely. She also mentioned that don't decide. For example, do not decide to take sailing or swimming if you are sailing if you are not really good in swimming, right? Like that. Or don't decide to take parachute jumping if you are afraid of heights, right?
Yes.
So there, okay. And what else? What other examples? If you are bad in gymnastic, that's what she said, right? It doesn't mean that you are also would be bad in playing tennis. So there, you really have. So don't give up on activity before you give it a good chance. So it doesn't mean that you are bad in gymnastic. You will also be bad in playing tennis. That's not like that. Okay. And also she said, always give it a try. Right, Nee? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Mm, okay. And one more thing. What did she say? Do not be too. What is about being ambitious? What did she say about that?
Mm, I can't remember.
Okay. So he said, do not be too ambitious. And what's good thing about if you failed doing all these things. For example, you've tried and tried doing this kind of sports or doing something, but you still failed. What did the psychologist say? On last, the number 7. Learning something new is a good way of meeting people. What did you say?
She say doing sport is the good way to meet people.
Yeah, that's correct. Meeting new friends, right, is merely important. Similar interests, and then the audio said also that we can find our love life also, right? So there. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think there will always be a positive effect on this, right? Trying something new. And there's no harm in trying. Like what I mentioned to you yesterday. It's better to try than never. Right, Nee?
Yes.
May I ask you before we end our lesson tonight, what is something that you would like to try, but as of the moment you are still scared of doing it or trying to do it?
Something I would like to go skating or
Mm-hmm.
climbing.
Oh, I see. But do you have a target time that you would like to try it? When? When you finish university, when you go abroad or travel with family? When? When do you want to target that or try that?
When I want to go skating because I see a lot of my friends like skating a lot,
Mm-mm.
and they always play it every day.
Oh, I see. Great, great. That's good. So that's something that you would really want to try. Are you there,
Yes,
is there a feeling of you're kind of scared?
yes. But I'm very frightened when I see they are go there skating.
Ah, I see. Okay. All right. That's a good thing. Well, tonight, Nee, I was able to see you doing a lot of exercises and you were given me a lot of good answers also. Very good on that. And I mentioned this already to you that you have really improved a lot in our listening skills. Tonight, you were able to listen promptly to our audio and was able to answer our questions diligently. So, good job on that. Keep on doing that. Okay, Nee? And
Okay,
you were able
thank
to
you.
yeah, you were able to construct also good sentences tonight, so good job. So keep up the good work and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay,
Okay, bye and good
bye,
night.
good night.